Hey, Robert, happy Monday to you. Happy Monday, Robert. How are you? Thank you for joining. I appreciate that. You're the first one in the chat, and I definitely appreciate that. And how was your weekend? Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate your support all the time. Yes. I'm just gonna see if anybody else wanna come in the chat. Sometime I don't know if my notifications go out. I really don't know. Hey, Auntie Lynn, how are you? Happy Monday to everyone. Happy Monday to everyone. I hope everyone had a great weekend. I did. I had a good weekend, and I thank God to see another beautiful week. Yes, I had a great weekend. That's it. Oh, come on. I'm always doing something. Yeah, I got like two stories for us today. I think that's all I'm gonna do today, because I'm gonna do me some um, baked chicken with fried rice, red beans and fried rice is what I'm gonna do. So I got my chicken marinating, so when I get off, I can start it. It's nice and cool here today, so I'm good with the oven. So I hope everyone had a great weekend. I just laid back and relaxed because this weekend was hot. I'm not gonna lie, it was really hot this weekend. But today we got a peaceful day today. So I'm thankful with that. Auntie Lynn, how was your weekend? Let's see something for a second. Um, just give me 1 second, y'all. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Okay, let's see. Give me 1 minute. I did. Hey, Real Talk, how you doing? Happy Monday. I hope you had a great weekend. Hope your weekend was great. I had a great weekend. I'm glad it's cooler down here. I don't like all that heat. Me neither. I had a great weekend. I'm relaxing in the house. That heat was, oh my God. This weekend, it was really hot here. It did. It got really hot here. And I'm like, oh man. But now today is good. It's nice and cool today. So I can deal with I can deal with it today. But it was really hot here over the weekend. And I think Thursday and Friday and Saturday, I think it's going to be 96. It's going to go back up hot again. Yeah, it's going to go right back hot again. So, got to be prepared for all that heat. So, y'all, I'm going to share. I'm going to do two stories today. I think that'll be about it. I don't get that many people anyway, y'all. So, it don't even bother me about, you know. So, mm, I don't know why this thing keep getting on my nerve here. Hold on. Okay, here we go. Let's see something here. Okay. So this story here, y'all, this guy, he unalived his wife. He came on YouTube, Facebook, and started talking crap about her. I just felt like he wasn't a good husband to me. I felt like he was a little controlling of her. And it made me also feel like he wasn't really a husband to her. It made me feel like, maybe I'll say it made me feel like she was the one bringing the money. And it makes me feel like after she maybe stopped giving him or something, he just, you know, yes, mama, I was relaxing. Okay. That's what I was doing too, honey. Yes. So let's get into the story. Hold on, guys. And put a one in the chat if y'all can hear me and let me know. I think I gotta turn it up too. Let me see. How of these videos be so low?
Till death do us part. And for the record, the TPO did it. You let me know.
Yeah, she put a
You really
TPO out on him, y'all.
love
He
me.
got angry.
I pray that the good Lord forgives me and He sent me into heaven. But this is too much for me on this earth. I'm
And my coffee
stressing.
link is
I'm
there if
not
anybody would like to
sleeping.
donate.
Just my mind is
I'm gonna put y'all
everywhere,
on mute 1 minute. I gotta
and
answer the
this is
phone.
really taking a toll on me.
Just before Ricky posted that video, he had already made up his mind. What seemed like a bitter rant about love and betrayal was a rage of something even darker. A heartless plan, already in motion. On October 6, 2023, at around 10 p.m., the Madison County Sheriff's Office responded to a frantic 911 call from family members who had just forced their way into a locked home and found something chilling. When they arrived at the scene, they were met with a chilling sight. 45-year-old April had been shot in the head, but what was more puzzling was the second lifeless body they found. It was 48-year-old Ricky Kelly, her husband. As police scrambled for answers, they uncovered a devastating truth. The one behind it all was her dead husband. He had killed her just after revealing their secret on Facebook Live. What was more disturbing was what happened next. This story reminds me a lot about one I've covered on this channel. Do you remember the case of a woman who was forced by her boyfriend to apologize on Facebook Live, but seconds later, he shot her? April Kelly's story and this are similar. If you missed that one, I'll leave the link for you at the end of this video. But let's look at the life and death of April Kelly. April Marie Kelly was 45 years old. She was a mother, a daughter, a sister, and a friend. But above all, she was a caretaker. For 17 years, she worked as a special education paraprofessional for the Clark County School District, mostly at Fowler Drive Elementary. April had a gift, an ability to connect with children who others might overlook. She didn't just teach them, she encouraged them, protected them, and made them feel seen. In January 2023, she was named Employee of the Month, a recognition her colleagues said was long overdue. Her coworkers described her as the heart of the building, a woman who brought warmth into every room she walked into. Students loved her, staff leaned on her, and at home, she was the glue that held her family together. April was a mother first, her children were the center of her world. She took every opportunity to create moments filled with laughter, support, and love.
Hey, open
Those
book.
close to her say that she radiated care, whether she was comforting a student or helping a friend through a rough patch. But behind the smile and tireless dedication was a woman trying to hold herself together through an unraveling marriage. April was married to 48-year-old Ricky Kelly. Born and raised in Georgia, he was known by many in Madison County, some as a quiet, hard-working man, to others as someone struggling emotionally beneath the surface. He had worked as a truck driver, a job that kept him on the road for long hours and often isolated. Ricky and April Kelly had been married for years. To outsiders, they seemed like a regular couple dealing with life's challenges. They loved spending time with family and friends, often hosting game nights, sharing meals, and creating memories filled with laughter. They were the kind of couple who showed up to barbecues, played cards late into the night, and seemed to enjoy the simple moments together. But behind the scenes, their relationship was slowly falling apart. As their relationship started to break down, Ricky's behavior changed. He became more controlling and emotionally unstable. Friends and family noticed the shift, and court records later
Yes,
revealed that
Robert.
fear had become a part of April's daily life. 2 weeks before her death, April had taken a step to protect herself. She filed for a temporary protective order, TPO, against Ricky, telling deputies she planned to stay with her family as she feared for her life. That legal action, while courageous, would become the spark in Ricky's spiral. Ricky, meanwhile, turned to Facebook to vent his frustrations. He posted rambling, angry videos blaming April and her family for their separation.
Marriage is for better or for worse. Until death do you part. You treat your man is supposed to be number one in your life. But once you start hanging with them dyke ass friends,
Ooh, Lord. You can tell he was
that's when
angry just
shit
by
go
his
left.
conversation, honey. He didn't like that.
But hey, and the funny thing is, when times get rough, when times got rough, you want to move out
Exactly,
and go
Robert.
to your mama's house where you can live for free, and got your mama them all in your ear. So now you want to bash me, man. It don't work like that. It don't work like that. You're supposed to be there through the tough times and not trying to bail out. It don't work like that. So I'm just saying this. I love everybody that love me. The rest of y'all, I know somebody gonna have something to say. Yeah, he did, he that. Y'all don't know shit about me. Not shit. So you can keep them opinions to yourself.
In this video, Ricky even referenced that upcoming court date and accused April of trying to ruin his life. He vented about bills, utilities being cut off, and feeling isolated and disrespected.
And for the record, the TPO did it.
He was
You
mad
let me
about that
know
TPO.
you really don't give a fuck about me. And I should have known because we live in the same house. We don't talk. You work your job all fucking day. You come home, don't say shit to me. Nothing. Don't cook for me. Don't even ask me how my day went. Nothing. But everybody at your job, you was all for that shit. All for that shit. You was all for your job. Back when we did used to talk, you come home from work complaining about your job. And how the kids were so unruly and disrespectful. And just, if you didn't want to be married, just say that. Just say that. I needed a wife.
Maybe she
I
was
wanted a
afraid to
wife.
tell
That's
you
why I
because she knew
married
you
you.
angry.
I wanted a wife. But it's so easy for you to bail on me when times got rough. So easy.
She felt like she didn't have a voice.
I was willing to stick it out and do whatever I had to do to try to keep things going. But you let your mama get in your ear. And your aunties get in your ear.
And maybe she went to them because she felt like she couldn't talk to you
I
because she
mean,
knew
I
you
hate that
were
this
angry.
had to happen. I hate it. But you're not gonna leave me messed up like this
You see what he just said? You're not going
and
to leave
bail
me
out.
messed up like this.
Yeah, the house is in my name only because her credit was messed up. If she done messed it up again, even worse, I got in debt, dealing with our grandkids' mama trying to put a roof over her head, and she go and messed the little apartment up over there off of Lolly, messed it up and beat the apartment up and left, and all that shit is on her, trying to help her. Don't get me wrong, we both love them grandkids. But at the same time, we wanted our son to be a man and handle his business. Because he made them, not us. I just want to say to my kids, I love y'all, man. I know some of y'all are going to be, a little mad at me for this, but
He's trying to tell you now what
my
you're going
wife,
to do to her.
husband and wife supposed to be number one.
He's
Number
angry, y'all.
one
He's angry.
to
She
each other.
left, went to her mom's house, got that TPO out on him.
And then you want to
He
leave me?
nowhere near. He don't have a job to pay no bills.
To
She had a
death
job
do us
anyway as a man living off of a woman.
Ricky claimed April had betrayed him and that the TPO meant she really didn't give a damn about him. He raged about financial disagreements, family interference, and accused April
open
of
book. He didn't
emotional
have nothing.
neglect. He also shared that he made a
He just
Facebook
laying off
post
this
which
woman.
his baby's mother commented on, and that sparked the TPO.
She gonna get mad at me because I make a Facebook post after she leave saying God is good or something like that to that nature. And my baby mama commented on it. So the next day, might have been the same day, she go and take a TPO out on me because she mad. She was mad. She went and took a TPO out on me because my baby mama commented on my post. She told me this. And then the next day try to go and get it dismissed. But hell, it's too late. You done fucked me up. You done fucked me up. Now I got to wait and wait and wait. You don't do that shit. You don't do that shit.
He also made ominous statements that suggested he was contemplating something drastic.
Then you cut the water off on me. Cut the water off. I come home from work, the water off. Cut the lights off on me. I had to go and get the lights in my name. But it's little low down stuff like that y'all probably don't know about. That type of shit right there will make a man lose his mind. That type of shit will make a man lose his mind. You go to your job and make everybody think you just the greatest person in the world.
Because
but really
you
you're a snake.
Water back onto your name. Why
really
are you so aggressive about it?
You're a damn snake.
In his final words, he said,
but I just want to say, do not play with marriage.
And you know what, y'all? I don't even think it was really about marriage. I think it was about controlling her because he sounds like he was in control. You know what I'm saying? He was controlling her for quite some times. You know what I'm saying? It felt like, he had power over her. It felt like, everything. And that's why she went and stayed with her mom. So he was angry because she went and stayed with her mom. Then he was even angrier when she took that TPO out on him. Men like this, that's aggressive and angry and bitter, they're going to rage. A man can go in a rage from 0 to 100 really fast, and you just don't know what could take place. So I know a lot of people, they split up when they, get, when the marriage ain't going good, but all of it don't cost to unalive people. But this man here, you can clearly see that he's very aggressive. Okay, he's very angry, and his anger is coming because she don't want him no more. It ain't got nothing really to do with what she did. It's because she don't want him no more. And a man don't like when you gain your control back and your power back. They don't like that. They're very hurt behind that, and that's why I think he's hurt.
Some people stand on that shit.
Then, with a haunting sense of finality, he asked God for forgiveness.
May God forgive me for everything, because I am a believer. and I repent. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Still, no one expected what would come next. As Ricky's mental state deteriorated, April appeared to be moving forward. She was seeking safety and distance, staying with her family, preparing for the upcoming court hearing. Tragically, before she could finalize those legal steps, on the morning of Sunday, October 6, 2024, April visited Ricky. In his final Facebook video, which he titled Final Thoughts, would become the catalyst for what came next.
All right, y'all. Today is Sunday, October 6, 2024. And another thing I want to let y'all know, she came to visit me yesterday morning, but she had to wait for her mama to leave before she can come and visit me.
Yeah, but she didn't want
That's
her mother to
crazy.
know.
That's my wife. Your mama got your head so fucked up that you have to sneak and come and see your husband. This shit don't fly with me. That shit ain't right. George Cooper, you're going to get what's coming to you. You're going to get what's coming to you.
According to what he later claimed in his video, she had waited until her mother left the house before coming.
Hey,
Whatever was
Pinnacle.
said or done during that visit
Yeah,
remains
mental health is
unclear, but
real.
that same afternoon, Ricky would fulfill his threats, an irreversible decision. Family members, deeply disturbed by Ricky's last Facebook video, rushed to the couple's home on Brittany Point, a quiet subdivision just outside Colbert, Georgia. When they arrived, the doors were locked. But when they forced their way inside, they were met with a devastating scene. Inside the home, April and Ricky's lifeless bodies lay motionless on the floor. April was found in the living room, slumped over from a gunshot wound to her head. Blood pooled beneath her. Just a few feet away, Ricky's body was discovered with a similar wound to the head. The Madison County Sheriff's Office was contacted right away. When deputies arrived, several family members were already inside the home, visibly shaken and struggling to process what they had walked into. Emergency responders, including paramedics and officers, quickly followed. By the time they got there, it was clear nothing more could be done. The way April and Ricky's bodies were positioned told a grim and heartbreaking story of how the tragedy had unfolded. While securing the scene, officers found a Ruger P96 handgun underneath Ricky's body. It was quickly identified as the murder weapon. The discovery left no doubt. What had happened inside that home was not just a tragedy, but something far more. A devastating and irreversible moment that had ended 2 lives and shattered many others. Captain Jimmy Patton later confirmed that all signs pointed to a murder-suicide. He later confirmed that all evidence pointed to Ricky as the sole perpetrator. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation dispatched a forensics team to process the scene. Autopsies were ordered, and with Ricky dead, the case would never see a courtroom. But what unfolded in that house had begun long before October 6th. In the weeks leading up to the tragedy, April had tried to shield herself. The TPO was meant to create distance, to give her space and safety. The court hearing had already been set for October 21st, a date she'd never lived to see. And yet, despite the legal protections in place, Ricky had remained consumed by rage, convinced that April had ruined his life. For the people of Madison County, and especially for April's loved ones, there are still lingering questions and an enduring grief. Despite everything April had done to protect herself, the system failed to prevent what happened. Her story is a sobering reminder of the dangers that can persist even after legal steps are taken. April's life was more than the way it ended. She was a woman who gave, loved, and cared with everything she had. And even in the wake of her death, her legacy continues in the students she helped, the lives she touched, and the community that will never forget her. But just as the town began to process their grief,
He was
new
an evil
details would
man.
surface, revealing the chilling mindset behind Ricky's final decisions. Throughout the video Ricky posted, he portrayed himself as a man wronged, someone who had sacrificed, suffered, and now stood abandoned. He blamed April for putting her friends first, accused her of turning her family against him, and even suggested that her decision to leave had driven him to the edge. He also lamented that April no longer cooked for him, no longer asked about his day, and that they barely spoke despite living in the same house. His statements, while rambling and emotionally raw, painted a picture of a man unraveling, someone consumed by resentment and teetering on the brink of violence. But what made the video so chilling was the way it vacillated between sorrow, bitterness, and veiled threats. Ricky insisted he still loved April, that he had stood by his vows till death do us part, but also claimed she made me do it. And that's when things took a turn for the worse. According to family, in January 2021, the couple had lost their
Thank you,
daughter to
sis,
an
for the
illness,
coffee. I love
which
you.
dealt a devastating blow that profoundly shook their relationship. April and Ricky had once leaned on each other during hard times, but this grief was different. It was deep, raw, and unrelenting. The pain of losing a child created a heavy silence between them, one that neither of them knew how to fill. They mourned differently. April became more withdrawn, while Ricky tried to push forward, burying himself in work and distractions. As they navigated their grief, hidden cracks began to surface, cracks that the public never fully recognized. Their once close bond started to fray under the weight of their pain. Small arguments turned into long silences, and emotional distance grew between them. Friends noticed the change, but many assumed it was just part of the healing process. Unfortunately, the wounds ran much deeper. By mid 2024, their marriage had reached a breaking point. The love that had once held them together was now overshadowed by grief, resentment, and emotional disconnection, and few knew how bad things had become behind closed doors until it was too late. As law enforcement processed the scene, grief settled over the community. April's colleagues, friends, and students at Fowler Drive Elementary were devastated. She had spent nearly 2 decades there, not just teaching, but nurturing children with special needs and mentoring younger educators. Many of her coworkers described her as someone who always had a kind word, a calming presence, and a deep love for students she served. Now, those same students would return to school to learn their beloved teacher was gone. April Kelly's funeral was held in Garden View Funeral Chapel in Athens, Georgia, just days after the tragedy, and the turnout reflected the depth of her impact. Former students, coworkers, friends, and extended family filled the sanctuary to honor the woman they knew as a caregiver, a mentor, and a loving mother. Her children, now left without their mother, were surrounded by a sea of support, but the questions hanging over the service were hard to ignore. How had this happened? And why hadn't someone stepped in sooner? At Fowler Drive Elementary, a memorial was set up in April's honor. Students created cards, drawings, and letters, and her coworkers organized a candlelight vigil in the school courtyard. Many struggled to find the words to describe the loss of a woman who had given so much of herself to others. Meanwhile, domestic violence advocates in the Athens, Clark, and Madison County areas began to speak out, using April's story to highlight the importance and the limitations of protection orders. April had done what so many women in abusive situations are encouraged to do. She filed for a TPO, made plans to leave, and surrounded herself with loved ones. But in the end, the system wasn't enough to stop Ricky. Organizations called for greater resources, more accessible emergency housing for women fleeing violence, faster legal intervention for violations of protective orders, and mental health support for both survivors and abusers. April's case wasn't just a story of one woman's murder, it was a devastating example of a much bigger crisis. And the community wasn't ready to let her memory fade quietly. Within weeks, April's family began discussions about launching a scholarship fund in her name for students pursuing a career in special education. Plans were
That
also
was nice.
proposed for an annual awareness walk to honor victims of domestic violence. As for Ricky Kelly, there was no funeral that made headlines. His name appeared in the same obituaries, but his story ended in shame and unanswered questions. His video had provided insight into his unraveling, but it didn't explain everything. What led him to snap? Could therapy, community intervention, or deeper accountability have saved them both? If there is any lesson to be drawn from this tragedy, it's that emotional abuse and controlling behavior are just as dangerous as physical violence, and that when someone says they're afraid, we must believe them. April Kelly was more than a victim. She was a mother, an educator, a bright light, and she should still be here. What do you think about this? Let us know what you think in the comments below, and if you found this story intriguing, please like, share, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this.
Hold on, y'all. I have another one. See, and you know, he would. I don't think it was all about her leaving him. A lot of men can't take rejection, whether you're married or not. They just can't take rejection, and I think that's what it was. He thought her mother was putting stuff in her head, and maybe the mother was putting stuff in her head, but not as to dogging down her husband. Maybe her mother was seeing the aggressiveness in him, the anger in him, you know, and the things that she was saying. She wanted the best for her daughter. You know what I'm saying? So he probably felt like, you know, the mother was turning her against him. But it probably wasn't the way he thought it was. But you know, he was gonna think like that. You know what I'm saying? He definitely was gonna think like that. But sometimes you just got to see these red flags. You really do. And sometimes I always say, y'all, TPOs, sometimes they're nothing. They don't even work anymore. You know, they really don't. It makes me feel like sometimes when you get a TPO out on somebody with behavior like this, sometimes you got to go far away. You know, just go far away. I always say have everything planned it out. You know what I'm saying? Maybe she shouldn't even went to her mom's house. Being that he knew she was at the mom's house, that caused a rage too. You know what I'm saying? Just by her, you know, being there, that was a rage, and he didn't like
And
that.
from behind,
She already said that the mother was turning her against him, so maybe she should have just, you know, went and tried to, you know.
My dad didn't believe in this till he got it on their big
and seek her, you know, another place, and you know, and get herself together. But I'm glad they still honoring her, you know, for who she was and stuff like that. But baby, this man right here was straight up toxic. He was straight up toxic. He was a manipulator. He controlled her. She probably felt like when she went back with her mother, she gained her control back. She gained her power back. You know what I'm saying? And a man don't like, or a woman don't like, because, you know, it's always 50-50. The toxic person or the narcissist person, they don't like when you gain your power back and your control back. And they do anything in their power to try to shut you up. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes, like I said again, they got their flying monkeys on their team with them to help, to shut you down. They don't like when women or men, whoever, gain their control back. That's the part that they do not like, and they never would like that. They don't like when they gain their control back. That bothers them the most. They don't like that. And I think it was happening in this case. Now, this one right here, we're gonna look at, y'all. Her son unalived her. Okay. And this was a real heartbreaking story. I didn't get to see the whole thing, but from what I did see, this is very heartbreaking. And she loved her son so much, and I could not believe he would do. I mean, so, listen, you can't trust nobody out here, man. You can't trust your own damn kids. I'm just being honest. I don't give a damn. People can say what they want to say. You just never know how your children are going to turn out. You don't know. You know, a lot of people be like, well, you know, I raised my kids. They this and that. That's your kids. You know, and just because someone else's child turned out to do whatever, sell drugs, be a murderer, whatever they do, you can't always fault the mom, because the mom has no control over these kids when they get grown. You know what I'm saying? They're all going to make a decision on what they're going to do. And this was a smart guy right here, too. A very smart, intelligent person. He even went to college for criminal justice and turned out to kill his own darn mama. I just couldn't believe it. So let's get off the commercial and let me get into it.
biggest sale this year.
Knee neuropathy is now optional. The Well-Knee knee brace is designed.
There has more on the murder of Latoya Acree.
Early Saturday morning, 41-year-old Latoya Acree was shot and killed in the driveway of her Spotsylvania County home.
Exactly,
her son, 21-year-old Elijah Smith, was arrested and charged with her murder.
Confusion spread through the nation as a mother was gunned down right in her home by the one person she loved above all others. In the late hours of September 17th, 2021, in Virginia,
she was beautiful.
41-year-old Latoya Acree came home to meet her death. Shortly after her arrival, her body lay bleeding from multiple bullet wounds that her son had inflicted. Her 21-year-old son forever silenced the very woman who raised him, supported him, and believed in him for a completely crazy reason. She had caught him doing some very disturbing things that a mother should never know of her child. But LaToya's fate was sealed when she saw this side of her son. As investigators arrived and forensic experts scrubbed the scene, they would learn of a truly heartbreaking story, a story of a woman who almost had it all and was deeply adored by all except her own blood. This is the
She had a
life
lot going
and
for
death
herself, the
of
mother.
LaToya Acree. This tragic story unfolded in Spotsylvania, Virginia. The county blends scenic beauty with historic charm alongside suburban neighborhoods and shopping centers. The community is a mix of families, commuters, and military personnel, offering a quiet, family-friendly lifestyle with outdoor recreation options, including boating and hiking. In 2021, the county maintained a relatively low crime rate, with violent crime significantly below the national average and poverty crime risks also modest, making it one of the safer areas in Virginia. However, this did not keep it safe enough for LaToya, whose danger lay in her very own home. LaToya Clara Acree was born on November 23, 1979, in Virginia. Raised in the church and shaped by Southern traditions, she was the daughter of Telia Acree and Milton Carpenter, and the granddaughter of Sterling and Clara Acree. She grew up surrounded by gospel music and kindness, and by all accounts, carried those values with her through every stage of her life. She attended public school in both Essex and Arlington counties before eventually moving to Woodbridge, and later Spotsylvania, Virginia. Determined to build a stable future, she enrolled at Paul Mitchell Hair School in Woodbridge, where she earned her cosmetology license. She later added a healthcare certificate in phlebotomy to her resume, but LaToya had bigger dreams and more to achieve. After honing her skills at a local beauty shop, she opened her own salon. LaToya was not just trained, she was driven. Her salon went beyond being just a place to get your hair done. It was a sanctuary where women came in weary and walked out renewed. LaToya continued to take up more jobs to support her family, like working as a pharmacy technician at Rite Aid and taking on a medical transport job. She was the kind of woman who gave everything to her job, and she worked so hard for a reason. A single mother of 4, LaToya did what it took to keep her kids fed, dressed, and protected. She was separated from their father, but remained dedicated to giving her children the very best. LaToya was fiercely loving and deeply committed to her family, and while parenting on her own came with its share of sacrifices, she never let it stop her from dreaming bigger. By 2017, LaToya felt a stirring inside her. The long hours and emotional toll of her job as a stylist weren't enough anymore. She wanted to help people beyond beauty. So, she enrolled at Walden University to study social work. At the same time, she began to pursue her first love, music. That's when the world began to take notice. In 2019, LaToya joined
Beautiful
True Soul,
voice.
a Washington, D.C.-based band. Though she had never sung in a band before, her voice, soulful, bold, unforgettable, quickly made her the centerpiece of every performance.
Look at that voice, boy. She had a beautiful voice. Damn, she got a beautiful voice.
Audiences didn't just hear her
Wow.
sing, they felt her every word. Her stage presence was magnetic, her spirit radiant, but her talents didn't stop at singing. LaToya was also beginning to act. She landed a role in an independent film titled District Queens, where she played the character Ebony. It was another sign that she was on the verge of a major breakthrough.
And now you're asking for a lot.
It wasn't a lot when we gave you that motherfucking money to get you elected, now was it?
Yeah,
Behind
she
the
played in this
scenes,
movie
she was
too.
also transforming physically.
She had a lot going
Determined
for
to
herself.
regain control of her health, LaToya began working out. She also started changing her diet and reclaiming her confidence. She soon lost over 200 pounds and began posting about her journey online. The glow up wasn't just external. She was finding her voice, her power, and her place in the world. LaToya had even found love again, and by all appearances, she was happier than she had ever been. But there was one area of her life that never seemed to fall in line, and this part made every other good thing meaningless. The source of this trouble was her middle child, Elijah Smith. Elijah was 21 years old, but emotionally, he was nowhere near adulthood. He had no job, no goals, and no respect for the women who raised him. Time and again, LaToya laid down boundaries. No women in the house, no sex in her home, and clean up after yourself. But Elijah ignored all of it. He treated house rules like a suggestion and disrespected LaToya at every turn. But this disobedience was not what scared LaToya. It was something else that she noticed in her son. He had a violent temper, one that had already erupted in the past. During an argument, he had assaulted his own brother, an incident that left a deep fracture in the family. LaToya knew he had a problem, but was not sure how to help him. So she turned to those who might be able to help. Elijah was arrested and thrown in jail. But then he was out on bond and awaiting trial for an unrelated assault and battery charge. This was the time period when he had an argument with his mother that would become the final and most devastating altercation. On the night of September 17th, 2021, LaToya returned home late from a trip. She was tired, likely just looking for some rest, but instead of peace, she found Elijah in the middle of her home, doing exactly what she had forbidden, and she was scarred. Despite multiple warnings, Elijah had once again brought in a woman to have sex in his mother's home. LaToya immediately lost it and blew up. She was done. She told him to leave, to pack his things and get out. The argument that started inside the house quickly spilled into the driveway. They were on very opposing ends, as Elijah believed he was grown enough to do whatever he wanted, but LaToya demanded some respect for her space, and the fight was just getting started. It was about 12:30 a.m., and the neighborhood was quiet except for the domestic dispute happening at LaToya's home. Elijah was loading his bags into the car, still yelling, still defiant. Then came the moment that would change everything. LaToya stood near the vehicle, possibly still pleading with him to do better while standing firm in her demand. Elijah got into the driver's seat, rolled up the passenger window, and from behind the glass, he pulled a gun. At first, it seemed like a mere threat, until he suddenly changed his mind. And just like that, in one heartless move, he shot his mother in the chest. LaToya collapsed in the driveway, the same driveway where she had once played with her kids, where she had brought groceries home, and where she had built her life. Neighbors heard the shot and immediately called 911. Sirens wailed in the distance as she lay dying in the very place she had spent her life building for her family. Despite emergency responders rushing her to the hospital, it was too late. When the first responders arrived at the scene on Pondley Drive, they found 41-year-old LaToya Acree collapsed in her driveway, clinging to life. She had been shot in the chest at close range through the rolled-up window of her son's car. Despite their efforts, there was nothing more the medics could do. LaToya Clara Acree was pronounced dead shortly after arriving at the hospital. Back at the scene, detectives worked quickly. Witnesses in the neighborhood described the loud argument, the single gunshot, and the panicked aftermath. It didn't take long for deputies to identify the shooter, her son, 21-year-old Elijah DeMont Smith. But Elijah hadn't gone far. Acting on leads, authorities located him at a hotel just minutes away in the 4 Mile Fork area. He was there with the same woman he had been caught with that night, seemingly unfazed by what had just occurred. Officers found him at the motel and took him into custody without incident. But his car held the evidence that would bring him down. Inside his car, they recovered the firearm used in the shooting. A bullet casing matched the one found at the crime scene. The evidence was damning. The case was no longer a question of who, it was now about why. The Spotsylvania County Sheriff's Office confirmed Elijah was charged with second-degree murder and use of a firearm in the commission of a felony. He was held at the Rappahannock Regional Jail without bond. Meanwhile, the investigation unfolded, and the detectives gradually pieced the truth together. Elijah had a history of disregarding house rules. He treated his mother's boundaries as inconveniences. She had repeatedly told him not to bring women home for sex, not to yell at his siblings, and to find a job. But those boundaries were tested again and again. LaToya's decision to keep allowing her son back into her home was not unusual. It was a decision made from love, from hope, from the desperate belief that if she just kept giving him chances, he would change. That hope cost her everything. Prosecutors revealed that in the weeks leading up to the shooting, Elijah's behavior had become more volatile. He had even assaulted his own brother during an argument. Family and friends urged LaToya to kick him out, but she couldn't bring herself to do it. She was his mother, and despite everything, she loved him. At trial, Elijah's defense attorney didn't deny the shooting. Instead, he argued that it should be considered voluntary manslaughter, not murder, claiming the shooting wasn't premeditated. But the prosecution pushed back hard. They argued that it was not an accident. Elijah didn't just lose control. He got in his car, rolled up the window, and fired a gun through the glass into his mother's chest. Then he left her there. He didn't call for help. He didn't stay. He went to a motel and continued like nothing had happened. With these facts laid out, everyone waited anxiously as the jury shared their stance. The jury agreed. They convicted Elijah Smith of second-degree murder and use of a firearm in a felony. In April 2023, he was sentenced to 44 years in prison, with 10 years suspended. He will serve 34 years behind bars. He will be 56 years old when he gets out. But to LaToya's family, the sentence wasn't enough. Because of their brother, they had lost a mother, a sister, a friend. Her niece, Kiana Carpenter, told reporters that LaToya didn't deserve to die that way. She gave Elijah everything, and in return, he gave her a death sentence. But LaToya's death was not just a personal loss. LaToya's passing sent shockwaves through her community, especially the people who knew her as more than just a victim. They knew her as a voice, a force, a light. News of LaToya Acree's death spread quickly, and it hit like a punch to the chest. Not just because she was loved, but because the circumstances were almost too painful to process. A mother taken by her own child. A voice was silenced just as it was finding its highest note. To those who knew her, this wasn't just a tragedy. It was an open wound, especially for her bandmates in True Soul, who were shattered. They had seen her days earlier, full of laughter and excitement, about an upcoming performance. That concert, meant to raise awareness about domestic violence, instead became a tribute to LaToya's memory.
Obviously, God had a better plan, a bigger concert for her to sing in.
Before she was killed, LaToya and the band were preparing for a big show coming up this Saturday at an event to raise awareness about domestic violence. Now the band will dedicate the show to their late singer, who police say died a victim of domestic violence.
Dressed in purple, the band took the stage to honor her, sharing her story alongside the music. They turned their sorrow into a message of awareness and strength.
And today we come where we were torn about, should we do this event so soon? It's been planned for months. It was perfect timing for this event because she was a victim like so many others. But today we come honoring her. If you feel a breeze going through here right now, I can assure you, it's the breeze, the spirit of LaToya Acree, letting you all know that she thanks you.
Within her circle, LaToya was remembered for far more than her singing. She was known as someone who brought warmth to every room, who supported others through hard times, and who lived her life with deep compassion. Her
she had a
friends
beautiful
from Walden
voice.
University, former co-workers, and fellow creatives spoke of her kindness, her easy laugh, and her
feel like her
willingness to
son was
lift others
jealous of
up no
her
matter
also.
what
He
she
didn't want
was
to have
going
no
through.
She had a lot of confidence issues in the beginning. She had lost, 100 pounds. She got a new boyfriend.
Yeah.
She was really, really happy. It seemed like things were just turned around for her.
The pain of her passing was felt acutely by those closest to her.
His son
Her
could have
family
became
laid her to
very
rest in a
jealous of that.
ceremony that reflected the fullness of her spirit. There were tears, but also music, memories, and unity. Her children, her niece, her granddaughter, and her community stood together to remember a woman who had given so much of herself. As grief settled over the community, conversations began to shift. People started asking deeper, more difficult questions about the nature of abuse within families. Many had seen signs, emotional volatility, broken boundaries, disrespect, but had struggled to act. LaToya's death forced a reckoning with these quiet struggles, especially those borne by mothers holding on to hope in the face of chaos. Her story became a reminder that abuse doesn't always come from strangers. Sometimes it originates within the home, and that kind of harm can be the most dangerous of all because it is often hidden, excused, or overlooked. But silence protects no one. If someone is living with fear or disrespect, even from a loved one, they need to know they are not alone. Resources like the National Domestic Violence Hotline exist to offer help, offering a lifeline through calls, texts, or online chats at 1-800-799-SAFE or thehotline.org. LaToya Acree's life was filled with hope,
Wow, she
love,
was a
and
beautiful
purpose.
woman.
She was a mother, an artist, a believer in second chances, and a source of strength for so many. Her legacy deserves to be remembered not only for her tragic death, but for the beautiful, determined life she lived. Her story is a reminder that love should never hurt. Safety and peace are not luxuries, they are rights. And when the warning signs appear, we must speak, act, and support one another. Let her light continue to shine by helping others find their way out of darkness. Her legacy is not just in her voice, it's in the voices she helps to protect.
So that's all I have for y'all today. I'm going to get up off of here. Thank y'all for coming through. Everybody that did, the couple of people that did, I appreciate you guys. I'm going to get off early today. I thank you guys for coming through. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Sis, thank you for the coffee. You know who you are. I appreciate you. I love you, sis. I hope you guys have a blessed day. Enjoy the rest of your day. Always remember, stay prayed up and keep God first. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Hi, Auntie Auntie Cherry. How are you doing? Happy Monday. Everyone have a great day, and I will see you guys tomorrow.